Hi everybody, so we've talked about how to practice at Star Wars Battlefront, and we've talked about how you can set up your star cards basically to have custom classes in Battlefront. So the question is, what game mode should you play when you go online? And for me, to start off with, it's very, very simple. Just go to multiplayer and click on find the best 40-player game. Battlefront is at its best with the big maps where you've got plenty of space to get around, and as long as you're fairly careful, not get slaughtered all the time like you do in the 12-player modes. I'm not saying the 12-player modes aren't good, they are, but they can get a bit hectic to start off with. So what games will you be playing when you go into 40-player mode? Well, the two common ones that will probably come up all the time are Supremacy and Walker Assault, with a little bit, maybe, of Turning Point on. It appears every now and again, Turning Point, not very often, but the big ones are Supremacy and Walker Assault. Now remember, for Walker Assault, if you want to practice the main maps, you can go into Skirmish, Walker Assault, and you can play against AI. Say, to go on Outpost Beta, Endor, Graveyard of Giants, play there, and you can get to know the maps, so that's really good. So, when you dive in, though, go to find the best 40-player game, or you can go to list all modes and you can choose like Supremacy or Walker Assault. So let's start off with Walker Assault, because this is probably the most common 40-player one that comes up, and it's a recreation of the AT-AT or AT-AT attack on Hoth from The Empire Strikes Back, but on different maps from the Star Wars universe. But it kind of plays out a bit differently. If you play as the Empire, your job is to get your, normally there's two AT-ATs, is to get them down a set path by supporting them as an infantry player, or you can get power-ups and get to AT-STs and TIE fighters and things like that. But mainly you're on foot, running around with your blaster. And what your job is to do is to prevent the rebels from activating or to deactivate their uplink stations. If you've played Battlefield, these are like MCOM stations. So what the uplink stations do, there's normally 2, sometimes 3 per stage, and I think there's 3 stages. What they do is they're telling the rebel Y-wing bombers where the AT-ATs are. So the rebels are trying to activate them to call in the Y-wings, because when the Y-wings come in and bomb the AT-ATs, that's when the shields on the AT-ATs go down and they can then start damaging the AT-ATs. So as an Empire soldier, your job is to run around and kill rebels, great, and to deactivate these uplink stations. Now, the trick to enjoying and being effective, I think, at Walker Assault is to pick one area of the map, one uplink station at a time, and go and try and turn it off. So but you press the square button on the PlayStation 4 when you get to it, turn it off, and then hang around there defending it from the counterattacks. The worst thing you can do in Walker Assault in these big modes is just to run backwards and forwards across the map just looking for people to kill, because generally what will happen is you'll just run into groups of rebels, and they'll end up just killing you, because when it's a one-on-one situation, if you've got the jump on someone, normally you can kill them if you get the first few shots in first. But if there's more than one of them, it can be difficult. So what you do is you kind of first find the uplink station, deactivate it if it's already been activated, then back off a little bit and can move away from it so you can still see it but you're not standing on top of it, and then wait for the rebels to come. And when they come, you shoot them. And then you back off. Then after a certain amount of time, the uplink station has done its job, the Y-wings come in. At that point, the rebels will probably all be firing at the AT-ATs and not really looking around very much. So you can use that as an opportunity to sort of creep around, try and flank them, try and go around the sides and come up from the backs, and shoot them while they're trying to shoot the AT-ATs. That period will go on for a period of time, and then the next 2 uplink stations or 3 uplink stations will appear further up the map, and then it's a mad race to get to them. The rebels will probably get to them first, they'll activate them, and then you follow, and then you try and take one out. But again, just choose one and deactivate it, and then defend that from counterattack from the rebels, and you'll find that much more enjoyable than trying to just run around madly. Now, if you're on the rebel side, your job is to, as an infantry soldier, is to activate the uplinks, which is, you just run up to them, press the square button, and they'll activate it, and then defend them from the Imperials. And again, just like when you were playing the Imperials, the trick to really enjoying this is to pick one uplink station and activate it, and then defend it. So fall back and let the Imperials come on. Again, don't stand on top of the uplink station because they'll see you, because they'll all just be running towards it. Fall back, go off to one side, and then pick them off as they start charging towards you. Now, after a period of time, when the uplink stations have been working, the Y-Wings will then come in and they'll attack the AT-AT, and then you need to throw everything you've got at the AT-AT to do as much damage as you can to it. So it helps if you've got like the ion torpedo or the ion blast on your blaster, or the ion grenade if you fancy getting really close. But while you're doing that, keep an eye out for stormtroopers or snowtroopers creeping round and attacking you from the sides, because that's what they'll be looking to do. And remember, you can't take out that AT-AT, normally any of the AT-ATs, on the first two sections. All you can do is as much damage as you can, and then as soon as it says fall back, activate the next group of activate one uplink station, defend that uplink station, and then throw everything you can. Now, when it comes to the sort of the last line of defense, when you're down to your third one, I think it is on most of the maps, one of the things you might want to consider doing is having a quick scout around for the snow speeder or the air speeder power up. For example, on the Hoth level, when that appears, you can grab that, get into the snow speeder or the air speeder, fly around safely. Don't go mad. Wait for the Y-Wings to come in, and then you can go in and you can try and do a tow rope takedown. But that's quite difficult to do because lots of other people normally nick them. Otherwise, again, just stick to the same uplink station and just defend it for your life, and don't wander around the map trying to do everything else, and you'll enjoy Walker Assault. So the other main mode is Supremacy. Supremacy is a bit like Conquest in Battlefield. It's kind of a cross between Conquest and Rush. And the way that it works is, again, you've got 40 players, they're on big maps, and each team has I think you have 4 control points each. It might be 3. You have a number of control points each. Let's say it's 3 control points. No, you have 2 control points each, sorry, with a neutral one in the middle of the map. And right at the beginning, what you've all got to do is try and capture that neutral control point in the middle of the map. You capture it just by running into it, and you'll see there's a circle on your mini-map. You hang around there, and then you'll capture it. As soon as you've captured that, the first control point, your enemy's first control point, their next control point, will then become active. Okay, and then you have to either attack that one or choose to defend the control point you've just captured. So I've read somewhere in an article they described it as a bit like a tug of war, because you've only got 2 control points in play at any one time, one that you can attack and one that you can defend. And the idea is you then go on and you attack, if you choose to do so, the enemy's control point. If you capture that one then becomes your defensive control point, and you move on to their final control point. And what you find with Supremacy, sometimes it can be over really, really quick if you steamroll the opposition. You can just roll them back really fast if they don't know what they're doing. Sometimes though, it can go on for ages because it goes backwards and forwards, because you might well attack their control point while they nip round the side and attack your control point and then capture it before you've got a chance to capture theirs, and then you then have to drop back. So you're moving backwards and forwards. The best thing to do with Supremacy is play it to see. And again, to enjoy Supremacy, always play the objective. So in Walker Assault, your objective, if you like, was those uplink stations, whether to attack or defend them. In Supremacy, it's the control point. Walk around, sort of flank around, and then either choose to defend a control point or choose to attack a control point. You may want to hang back and be picking people off, but don't just wander around the map willy-nilly, because that's the time when you get picked off. You may well have success doing that, but I always find I always have the most fun and feel the most helpful to the team when you're playing the objective. You're going to try and capture the objectives or defend the other one. And that's it, really. Turning Point only appears on the Graveyard of Giants map, and it doesn't come up in rotation that often. In Turning Point, I've got to remember how you play it now, but basically the idea is that the rebels are pushing the Empire back, and they start off with the Empire has a number of control points that the rebels can go for, and they gradually whittle them down to one. So if you can imagine, it starts off fairly easy for the rebels to capture control points, and then it gets harder and harder as the Empire, basically get down to one control point where they're all defending it and all the rebels are attacking. But it doesn't come up that often. The most common ones are Supremacy and Walker Assault. So there we go. Hopefully that'll help you. Now, once you're enjoying Supremacy and you're enjoying Walker Assault, by all means try the smaller levels with the smaller players. But they can be a lot more hectic. There's a lot more going on. And they don't always have the space that Supremacy and Walker Assault have. So hopefully that will really help you out to enjoy those game modes. Remember, play the objective, stick to one objective at a time, and you'll have great fun and you'll really enjoy Star Wars Battlefront. And yeah, it is a fantastic game. Anyway, that's enough from me. Please put your questions or comments down below. If you've enjoyed the video, press like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you again soon.